V-SPANN, the American Veterans Communications Network. This V-SPANN Spotlight Special shines on a 92-year-old World War II veteran who refuses to slow down. Welcome to the Veterans Special Programs American National Network, V-SPANN. Our spotlight today shines on Lou Diana, a veteran of World War II. In the next few minutes, we're going to learn about Lou and hear his stories about what it was like to be a soldier during World War II. World War II, a global war that was underway by 1939, and it ended in 1945. Lou, welcome to V-SPANN. Tell us about you being drafted.
Well, the way I was working at Belmont Radio and going to school taking machine drafting, and Belmont Radio says, "You're being drafted." I says, "Okay." And I went to the Camp Grant and got my start there. They sent me to Missouri, Camp Crowder, Missouri. And from there, I was learning the coded messages, not clear text. 5 letters could be X, Y, Z, mean something to somebody else, but to me it didn't mean nothing. I had to stay there until I learned 30 words a minute with the typewriter. The reason why I knew how to type, I learned myself. I'm a musician, I was typing. My brother says, "You want to learn how to type? Here's the book." So I got to typing real good before I went to the Army, and they put me in the category of learning coded messages. A bug is the one that you do it real fast, and a hand one, you just send your messages slowly and clearly. You don't need the fast ones where I was, because we were shipping it across the ships and all that, and they didn't want to know where that sound was coming from, the enemy. I mean, they wouldn't know where it was coming from. Our messages will be relayed to the front line, and we were, first we had to go through California, Australia, over India, and land into the China coast. We had an attack from there. And the reason why we were safe there, most likely safe, there was a lot of bodies buried there. Later on, I did a volunteer work of picking up those bodies, but I didn't pick them up myself. We had them do it and put it on a truck. After the war was over, I did that as volunteer. But maybe they were shot by a plane, on a plane, or maybe their bodies were found someplace near the fighting zone, one of those islands or something, but they were buried in China temporarily. So when I got to India, well, there was no talk about fighting or nothing. Then we traveled to China, and that's where we could have been safe, or we could have not, because that was supposed to be communist country, but at the time it was friendly, and they sent a Chinese team that I was with, because Chinese people get along together, and they won't report that we're there, because the Chinese don't report each other, see. So I was one of the few Americans with the Chinese team, 35 men. And then my ratings were starting to go up as I sent my messages slowly. Did-a-da-da, did-a-da-da-dee-da. Did-a-dum-dum-diddy means repeat the message. I would always repeat my message and accurately that way. And I wouldn't have to use the bug until they send me to the front lines. And I'll tell you about that later. They were going to send me there, and then I might have had to use the bug, you know, so nobody else would catch on. While we were in China, we were in a building there. They could have bombed us any time, but I think they saved their bombs because we were ready to attack them. When that time I was in 3.5 years, and about 8 months in the fight in the war zone there. And so I earned 2 Bronze Stars and a Good Conduct Medal and all of that, even the Medal of sharpshooting and all that. We got into China there. We moved only one time, so they wouldn't know where we were, see. So on the China coast, we would relay our messages to the generals that were out in the islands. And then later on, after we attack, we would all be going over there. I almost went on the plane, but I got sick and I went back to the hospital.
Now, Lou,
in China coast.
Now, Lou, in China, when we look at World War II,
yeah,
there were estimated 73 million fatalities during World War II.
Yeah.
Tragic war, as all wars are. You have a banjo, you have an instrument, and you use that instrument to bring...
I used the mandolin before I got there until it got smashed in India. We had bunks that high, and there was monsoon rains, and there was tents we had to close up because of the animals, and we had pancakes that could have flies in them because they had real hot in India, and the flies would go into the pancakes sometime. And I think I tasted a sour taste once. And so we didn't have to worry there, except when we were going over the hump to get to China. Our plane dropped 50 feet, and it sounded like somebody was shooting at us, but it was nobody. We just kept going and landed in China and did our job in a big building right on the coast there, because somebody says, what are you going to do when the Chinese take over, the communists? I says, let them come. We'll probably be on a ship by that time and go and attacking. So in other words, we just stayed there. The Chinese people got along good, and I worked with American that worked at the Library of Congress. I can't tell you his name because maybe he don't want it out. And we worked together with a master sergeant, and I didn't know what rating I had. I didn't care, see. And later on, I went home. After I did all of that, the colonel was going to send me once over into the front lines because I think we were ready to attack. But the reason we didn't attack is because they were still talking about the atomic bomb, that we would drop another one on them unless they surrender. So we sent messages and started to send people over there. I was next, and I think that's when they started to say, oh, we give up. We're going to have peace. so I didn't have to go on the plane. I stayed where I was. Then I volunteered to pick up the bodies that were dead already, and they brought them there to China. And that's all I could say, except I sent important messages, but I sent them slowly while we were in that building. I didn't have to use 30 words a minute. I just sent them clearly and as quick as I could.
This story of World War II is an incredible story, and we're hearing it from the experiences of Lou Diana during World War II. And all of the tragedy that we heard of with the nearly 73 million fatalities during that war, Lou brought with him a little bit of something that he could share with others to bring joy. We'll hear a little bit about that and maybe some more music. You never know, because this is V-SPANN. Most people don't grow up, they just age. This is V-SPANN. Our V-SPANN spotlight is on Lou Diana, a World War II veteran and a musician. Lou, tell us how you used your music to help people feel better in a war-torn zone.
Yeah, well, I just knew how to play mandolin at the time, and I had my brother send it to me when I was in Camp Crowder, Missouri. Well, I was getting the training there with the gunshots and all that, and the coding. We learned everything there in Camp Crowder, Missouri, and the reason I had the mandolin sent is because they give us our weekends off. They were real good with us. Our training was done during the week, and we had a radio station to go to, and they had me playing the mandolin with an accordion player and a bass player, and I was doing the mandolins, and we were playing there every weekend. They had us steady. They were selling polka dot bread. and it's funny that people used to invite us, and I happened to say that over the radio, that every time somebody takes us in their house, I see polka dot bread on the table. That was the end of that. They fired us. You're not supposed to advertise. So, you know what, we just went our way. I had my mother come there once, and I didn't know how to get her back on a train, so I told the radio announcer, where's the train station? I'm supposed to meet my brother and let him know what train. And I just left my mother there because the announcer says, after I told him where's the train, I had to go back to camp. He says, I'll take her there. So, and I didn't have to worry about that. And I don't even know how I got to the radio station because I get lost easy. I don't trust myself. I go with somebody that knows where they're going downtown. Otherwise, I stay in the barracks.
So how did you use the mandolin in India?
I used the mandolin on the radio there, and then when we were sent to California and left with our ship there, see. So after that, I carried the mandolin right to India, and they were stationed in India for a while, so I thought I'd play the mandolin. I started playing the mandolin there a couple of days. Then we had a monsoon rain. We were on bunk beds. We almost got drowned while we were sleeping. Nobody woke us up. And then all of a sudden, we had to use the tents. And something happened there. Those big animals, I don't like to describe them. They said, you better tighten your tents down all the way, real tight. So I did what they said, but they helped me because they made sure. And after that, we were sent on a boat towards Australia, and I didn't have no mandolin then. And I stopped at Australia. From there, we went right straight to India, and then China, and there I did my work. And no mandolin. I didn't play mandolin for a long time. Then after I left the Army, they says, are you all right? I said, yeah, I'm fine. I didn't want to stay there any longer after picking up those bodies and everything. And we went to camp. Well, the camp that we came on, that's the way we went home. Then I tried my job at Belmont Radio where I left, and I got real sick there. And I was going like crazy, 104, 105 fever. And they said, we better send you to the nut hospital. And that was true. And my wife was with me. He's not crazy. He's sick. And then they sent me to a different doctor. We got away from the infirmary of Belmont Radio, and we went to a different doctor, a neighborhood doctor, and he says, you got malaria. And it was funny because he was a neighborhood doctor. He says, I used to work for the VA. And he fixed me up just with sulfa pills. I kept taking them for 4 or 5 years, or 3 or 4 years, because they start pensioning me. And as soon as I stopped the pills, no more pension. My brother said, you're taking too many. You could die from taking too many pills. Well, at that time, the doctor didn't tell me to stop taking them. I just kept taking them. And they had no problems after that because I took them long enough, sulfa pills. And then those Army doctors, ever since then, I wanted to go to the Army, but I got a job at a factory. They says, your wife is half of the the medical, and if I join the Army thing, she loses her half. So I might as well stay with the company, and I didn't join the VA until after I was near 65 years old. So I can't tell you too much about the VA, except they treat me real good.
I know you're anxious to get back into it, but when we come back, we're going to have the softer side of Lou Diana with a special friend. And we're going to give you a taste of what that special friend is. This is V-SPANN.
V-SPANN is a network designed to serve the American veteran. Its mission is to inform, inspire, enlighten, honor, remember, and entertain. Soldiers and veterans will not ask for our help, but it needs to be given nevertheless. Winston Churchill once said, "Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few." This sentiment stands true today.
Veterans deserve this. We owe them, not the other way around.
It's time to pay back our debt to our soldiers and our veterans. It's time for V-SPANN.
This is V-SPANN. Our spotlight is on Lou Diana, a veteran from World War II. He shared with us some of his experiences, what he did when he was in the war, and along with that, his friend. First the mandolin and now the banjo. The banjo is a instrument that you love to play.
Right.
And I understand you auditioned for America Has Talent
Yeah.
just 2 years ago
Yeah.
at 90 years old, and again this year.
Yeah.
What did you play for them?
Well, when I had that through, you know, I had to have an agent to get me there. My daughter's movie agent, you know, for extras, and they got a hold of her, and they gave me right up there because of my disabilities. They got me right up inside. Everybody else was in the rain, freezing. The whole block around downtown Chicago was full, and they were getting wet and everything else. How did he get ahead of me? So, and it seemed like they liked it there, and they thought, they talked like as if I was going to be one of them picked, see? But then I heard later on they didn't pick anybody from Chicago. There was wrong talent. They weren't looking for that kind. And so waiting, they says, no, they didn't call yet. And the following year, they called me again. Same thing happened. It was a flop.
Not a flop. You did it. You did it.
Yeah.
Play something for us, Lou.
Yeah, it was good enough because I've seen the talent on there.
What did you play?
When they first started out, you know.
Yeah. What did you play? What did you play?
I would have played dueling banjos. It goes, that was. And you repeat that and you go.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't practice this for a long time because I changed keys and everything else, and I had trouble with the banjo.
Yeah, yeah. I can picture those guys sitting on the porch, the guys that look like Alfred E. Newman. Mm-hmm. Okay, play us another song, will you?
You know what you mean, the ones that got wet?
Yeah. Go ahead.
There was a lot of guys, they says, why don't you join our team over here? There's a bunch of guys trying for the audition. And I says, no, well, then what am I going to do for my act then?
Yeah, that's it. Do you have another song to play for us?
Yeah, the play for where?
Do you have another song to play for us?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got a song here. I'm trying to find out the name of it, and I'm going to do part of it. I heard on WLS because years ago I did a lot of work following WLS talent show. I played for John Dosey when he was at the park, and he took Guy Colby's place on WLS. And I used to play for Guy Colby after he retired. And then he retired from WWII and hired me for shows with him. And I played with both those guys out in the road shows. And then I played with Dick Trentledge. He invented the Oscar Mayer Wiener song, had his kids playing on it, and he played the banjo, and he only plays guitar. I didn't know him well enough where he would have had me on that commercial. And he made a lot of commercials, sent his kids to college and everything. I played with his square dance band for 20 years. And after that, his band broke up, see? And I got right away a call to try out for Shakey's in Calumet City. And I made that right away, except the guy I hired, he hired somebody else. And I was out for about 6 months, and they didn't want him, they wanted me. They called me back, and I worked there 10 years longer. He said, "You got a lifetime job here. They're just selling pizza and beer. Number one and number two, the country, you know."
Yeah.
And so I just couldn't believe I would be there so long because.
But do you see what happened? You left Shakey's and they went out of business.
Oh yeah, they went out of business.
That's
then
right.
Because they had a bunch of lunch. They cost. The people came to bunch of lunch, and all the Shakey's cut off the music, and that's the only time. But the thing is, I still played after that once in a while. They had one in Hammond, but I didn't stay with them because they're selling the other food.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, you are a very interesting man, and I want to bring Bernie and Darlene over here to join us as we close off our show. They're in our studio audience here, and Bernie, now this will be 66 years of marriage. 66 years of marriage. And Darlene, one of your lovely daughters, is here. So come and join us, if you will, as we close off another V-SPANN Spotlight. Now, I'm going to guess that this is Bernie,
Yes,
and
hi.
you're the wife, and you're the daughter, I'm guessing. And Darlene,
We have a daughter that Bernie, you tell her.
No, we have two
Uh,
other
Mary Ann.
daughters. Okay, we have two other daughters.
Yes, two-
Susan and Mary Ann.
there you go. And Darlene is the owner of Extraordinary Casting for Extras, who actually got that on a TV show too. So, but that's a whole new story. So Darlene and Bernie and Lou Diana, we thank you for being a member of our V-SPANN Spotlight series. We did focus on Lou Diana and his experiences while serving his country during World War II. To view this or other great programs that are of interest to you, the veteran, visit the V-SPANN website. It's at www.vspann.org. This program was made possible through the studios and future broadcast professionals at the Illinois Center for Broadcasting, Lombard Campus, where broadcasting careers begin. Visit BeyondAir.com for more information about a career on radio and TV. You're watching the Veterans Special Programs American National Network. This is V-SPANN.